My girlfriend said, "We need space," but she was already living with him across town. The words hit me like a slap in the face. I stood there in our living room, holding her jacket, completely frozen, unable to process what she'd just said. I had been trying to get her to open up for weeks now. Something was off. I could feel it, but nothing prepared me for this. The way she said it, so quietly, like she was trying to protect me from the truth, made everything worse. I tried to breathe, to steady myself, but it wasn't working. My heart was pounding in my chest, and I felt like the room was closing in on me. "What do you mean, space, Lily?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper, as if I was afraid to speak too loudly and break the fragile reality I thought we shared. She stood by the door, avoiding my gaze, her fingers fidgeting with the hem of her sleeve. The avoidance in her posture, the way she wouldn't look me in the eye. It was like she was already half gone, even before the words left her mouth. "I just think we need some time apart, just to figure things out," she said, her words trailing off into nothing. She sounded so unsure, and yet there was something final in her tone, something resigned. I felt a knot tighten in my stomach, the confusion, the anger, the betrayal all mixing together. "Time apart," I repeated, trying to keep my voice steady. "Lily, what are you talking about? You've been distant for weeks. I've asked you what's going on, and you keep pushing me away. Now you're saying you need space? What? So this is how you're going to end it?" Her eyes flicked to mine for a brief second before darting away again. "It's not like that. It's not. It's just..." She cut herself off, as though the words were too hard to say out loud. I could see her shaking slightly, like she was trying to hold back something, but I couldn't figure out what. I wanted to yell at her, to demand the truth, but instead, I felt my chest tightening, my breath becoming shallow. "You're already seeing someone else, aren't you?" The words slipped out before I could stop them, a raw accusation I had been holding back for far too long. The tension in the room thickened, and I could feel my throat tightening as I waited for her to deny it. But she didn't. I'm not seeing anyone else," she said, but it came out weak, unconvincing. It wasn't a denial, just a half-hearted attempt to cover something up. The words hung in the air like a lie, and I couldn't bring myself to believe her. My head spun, my thoughts racing in 1,000 directions. Who is he? Where did he come from? Why didn't I see this coming? My gut told me everything I needed to know, but I didn't want to believe it. Then why are you leaving? Why do you need space if nothing's changed? If nothing's happened? I'm not leaving you. It's just... I'm not sure about us anymore, she murmured, the words barely audible. I wanted to scream. I wanted to throw something, to shake her, to make her explain what the hell she was doing. I felt like I was suffocating, like the walls were closing in. She started to gather her things, picking up her bag, her keys, avoiding my gaze. The whole scene felt surreal, like I was watching it happen to someone else. But it was me. It was my life falling apart right in front of me, and there was nothing I could do to stop it. "I need to go," she said, and with that, she was out the door. Just like that. No fight, no attempt to make it work. She was gone. I stood there, staring at the empty doorframe, feeling numb. The house felt too big, too quiet. Everything we'd built together, our mornings in bed with coffee, the dinners we'd cooked together, the inside jokes, the plans for the future, felt like it had evaporated in an instant. She was gone, and all I had was this empty space where she used to be. The next morning, I woke up to the harsh reality of her absence. The bed was cold, the sheets tangled around me like they were mocking my attempts to hold on to something that was already slipping away. The silence was deafening. I lay there for a while, staring at the ceiling, trying to wrap my mind around everything that had happened in the past 24 hours. It had been a Thursday evening when she dropped that bomb on me. And now, as I sat in the silence of the apartment we'd shared for over a year, I couldn't help but replay the conversation in my head over and over again. "We need space." The words echoed in my mind, but the more I thought about it, the more they felt hollow. She wasn't just asking for space. She was already living with him across town. I knew this because, when I reached for my phone that morning, I found a series of texts between her and her friend that confirmed everything. They weren't just friends. They weren't even close to just friends. She had been seeing him for at least a month, maybe longer. And now it was clear that space was just the beginning of the end. I sat up, the weight of it crashing down on me. I should have known. There had been subtle signs, things I had brushed off in the name of keeping the peace. Late nights at work, the business trip she had suddenly taken to visit an old friend, the way she would get distracted whenever I asked her about her future. But I never thought she would actually do it. I never thought she would leave me for him. I grabbed my phone and stared at it for a moment before sending her a message. I wasn't sure what I wanted from her. I wasn't even sure if I could look her in the eye again. But I needed to hear it from her, the truth. Where are you? I know about him. Don't lie to me anymore. It took what felt like an eternity for her to reply, but eventually I saw the 3 little dots appear, then her message. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to hurt you. But it's over, Jace. It's really over. I sat there, staring at the message, feeling like I had been punched in the stomach. Over. Just like that. Like we were nothing. The truth was ugly. She had been seeing him while we were still together, while I was still trying to make sense of her sudden distance. I thought about all the times she had kissed me, told me she loved me, and all the while, she had been lying to my face. It didn't make sense. It hurt in a way that words couldn't describe. For hours, I just sat there. I couldn't bring myself to do anything. I couldn't even move. My whole world had just shattered, and I wasn't sure how to pick up the pieces. When I finally did stand up, I felt numb, like I was moving through a fog. The house felt like a foreign place, a reminder of everything I had lost. I grabbed my coat, and without thinking, I walked out the door. I needed air. I needed something to make this feeling go away. But nothing was going to make it go away. Part 2. I spent the rest of the day wandering around the city, not really going anywhere, just trying to escape the weight of everything that had happened. The cold air outside didn't help. It just made me feel more distant from everything, like I was walking through a dream, unable to wake up. My phone buzzed a few times with messages from Lily, but I couldn't bring myself to look at them. I didn't want her words anymore. I didn't want to hear how sorry she was, how complicated things had gotten. I knew the truth now, and it was a truth I didn't want to accept. I ended up at the park near our old apartment, the one we'd always walk through on weekends when things were good. The irony wasn't lost on me. Everything felt like a sick joke now. I sat on one of the benches, my hands stuffed into my pockets, staring at the bare trees. It was fall, and the leaves had already begun to fall off, leaving the branches skeletal against the gray sky. I felt like those trees, empty, hollow, just waiting for the storm to pass. But I wasn't sure I could wait it out. I thought about the last few months, all the little things that didn't add up, the late nights, the sudden trips, the way she'd been pulling away. I had felt it deep down, but I had ignored it. I had convinced myself it was just stress, or that she was busy with work, or maybe I was overthinking it. But now it was clear I wasn't overthinking it. I had seen the texts. I had seen the pictures. She had been with him. And the worst part? It wasn't just the betrayal of her being with someone else. It was that she hadn't even had the decency to be honest with me about it. She had been living a double life, right under my nose. I wasn't sure how much time had passed when I finally got a message from her again. My phone buzzed, and I pulled it out of my pocket. Her name flashed on the screen. I stared at it for a while before opening the message. Jace, please. I need to talk. I can't do this over text. Can we meet? I know I messed up. I just need to explain. I didn't reply right away. Part of me wanted to tell her off, to call her out for everything she'd done. Another part of me wanted to hear her out, to let her explain why she'd hurt me this way. But I knew it was pointless. I had already heard everything I needed to hear. I was just too scared to admit it yet, that we were done. But the part of me that still cared, the part that hadn't completely given up on her, that part wanted to meet her. I was torn, and I hated that I was torn. Why was I still letting her have this power over me? I decided to meet her, not because I thought it would fix anything, but because I needed closure. I needed to hear her say that it was over for real. I needed her to confirm what I already knew, even if it hurt. I texted her back, reluctantly. Fine. Where do you want to meet? Her reply came almost instantly. Can you come to the coffee shop on Main? The one by the bookstore? I'll be there in an hour. I didn't want to go. I didn't want to see her, but I knew I had to. So, I made my way there, trying to push all the emotions aside. I couldn't afford to break down in front of her. Not again. The coffee shop was quiet when I walked in, a few people scattered around, lost in their own worlds. I spotted Lily right away. She was sitting at the corner table, staring into her coffee cup, her hands wrapped around it tightly. She looked small, fragile, like she wasn't sure what she was doing here either. She glanced up when I walked in, and for a split second, I saw that familiar flash of guilt in her eyes. But it was quickly masked by something else, something that I couldn't quite place. I walked over, my legs heavy with every step, like I was walking toward my own execution. I didn't sit down right away. I just stood there for a moment, looking at her. She had changed. She was wearing that same hoodie I had bought her for Christmas last year, and it felt like a punch to the gut, like I was watching her hold on to the last piece of us, but it wasn't for me anymore. I didn't want it to happen like this, she said softly, breaking the silence. Her voice cracked as she spoke, like she was holding back tears, but I wasn't sure if I cared anymore. I didn't mean to hurt you. Then why did you? I asked, the words coming out sharper than I intended. I hated how much anger I felt. Why did you go behind my back? Why didn't you just tell me the truth? She looked down, her fingers tracing the rim of her coffee cup. I didn't know how. I thought I could fix it. I thought we could fix it, but I've been feeling lost. I don't even know when things change, Jace. I thought I could keep pretending, keep pushing through it, but I couldn't. And then I met him, and everything just shifted. I wanted to scream, to ask her how she could do this to me, how she could fall for someone else while we were still together. But I didn't. I just stood there, feeling like the air was thick, like I couldn't breathe. So that's it? That's your excuse? You met someone else? No, she whispered. It's not like that. It wasn't just about him. It's about me. I'm not the person I was when we first started dating, and I don't want to drag you down with me anymore. You deserve someone who's sure about you, about us. I've been so selfish. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to feel. The truth was I was angry, but I was also sad. I was heartbroken, and I was exhausted. I had been trying so hard to make it work, and I hadn't seen this coming, not like this. I don't know if I can forgive you, Lily, I finally said, my voice barely above a whisper. I don't even know if I want to forgive you. I understand, she said quietly, her eyes brimming with tears. I know I don't deserve it. I stood there for a long moment, my hands shaking at my sides. I wanted to say something else, but the words felt stuck in my throat. What was the point? She had already made her choice. I think I need to go, I said finally, turning away from the table, my heart heavy with the weight of everything that had just been said. As I walked out of the coffee shop, the door chimes ringing behind me, I felt something in me shift. It was like a door that had been slammed shut with no chance of ever opening again. I didn't know if I was ready to move on, but I knew I couldn't keep waiting for someone who had already left me, piece by piece.